Over 75 walking failed Texto principle. Walking did nothing, this fixed it. Have you ever walked every single day and still felt weaker, less stable, and more afraid of falling? That question hit me hard after 75, because walking had always been my safety net. For years I believed what everyone repeats, just keep walking and your body will hold on. I walked in the mornings after lunch, sometimes again in the evening. Neighbors praised my discipline. Doctors nodded approvingly. On the surface, I was doing everything right, but inside my body something very different was happening. I started noticing it in small moments. Standing up from a chair took a second longer. My legs felt heavy, almost disconnected, like they were slow to respond. Walking itself felt fine, but stopping, turning or changing direction suddenly felt uncertain. That's when the quiet fear appeared. Not pain, not disease. Fear of losing control. What shocked me most was this. The more I walked, the more I realized walking wasn't fixing the things that mattered most anymore. It wasn't improving my balance. It wasn't helping my circulation feel alive. It wasn't giving me confidence when I stood still or reached for something. Walking moved me forward, but it didn't stabilize me. One morning, after a perfectly normal walk, I stood in my kitchen and felt unsteady, just reaching for a cup. That moment changed everything. I wasn't weak from laziness. I wasn't inactive. I was doing the wrong kind of movement for a body over 75. Walking had trained me to move in one straight line. Life doesn't work that way. Real life demands control, balance, circulation in the legs, and confidence when movement stops. That's when I understood something most people never say out loud. After 75, walking alone can hide decline instead of preventing it. I didn't stop walking because I was lazy. I stopped trusting it because it stopped solving the real problem. And what I discovered next challenged everything I believed about staying independent at this age. Before I go any further, I need to pause here for a moment because this part is important. If what I just described feels familiar to you, the heavy legs, the loss of confidence, the feeling that walking isn't giving you stability anymore, then this video is not just information, it's a wake-up call. Understanding what's really happening in your body after 75 can be the difference between staying independent or slowly giving that independence away without noticing. Most people keep repeating habits they were told were healthy without ever asking if those habits still work for their body today. That's why I want to hear from you. Write a comment below and tell me your age and whether walking still feels enough for you, or if you've started noticing changes like balance issues, weak legs, or fear of falling. Your comment isn't just engagement, it helps this message reach other people who are silently struggling too. If this already made you see walking differently, take a second to like this video. That simple action tells the platform this content matters for people over 75 who want to stay mobile, confident, and in control of their own body. And make sure you're subscribed. What I'm about to share next is the exact movement that changed how my legs felt, how my balance responded, and how safe I felt just standing still. Something walking never gave me anymore. After that realization, a deeper fear surfaced. One I hadn't admitted to anyone, not even myself. It wasn't about pain or diagnosis. It was about control, or rather, the slow feeling that control was slipping away. My legs began to feel heavy in a way walking never touched. Not tired, heavy. Like circulation wasn't fully waking them up anymore. I could walk forward just fine, but when I stopped, when I stood still, when I turned around quickly, something felt delayed. That delay is terrifying after 75. It's the moment where a fall begins. I noticed it most when standing up from a chair. My mind said stand, but my legs answered a half-second later. That gap between intention and response is where confidence disappears. I started planning my movements more carefully. I avoided sudden turns. I reached for furniture without realizing I was doing it. What scared me was how quiet this change was. No alarms, no sharp pain, just a gradual sense that my legs weren't fully mine anymore. Walking hadn't warned me. It hadn't prevented it. Either, it masked the problem because forward motion still worked. Circulation felt different too. By late afternoon, my legs felt dense, almost swollen from the inside, not visible swelling, a sensation. Anyone over 75 knows exactly what I mean. That feeling that blood isn't flowing freely, that your legs are doing more work than they should just to keep you upright. Balance became a mental exercise. I started thinking about where I placed my feet. I worried about uneven ground. That constant awareness drains you. You don't feel old, you feel cautious. And caution slowly turns into limitation. What shocked me most was realizing how many people around me were feeling the same thing but never talked about it. We all kept walking, smiling, saying we were fine, while quietly adjusting our lives around instability. That's when I understood something crucial. The body after 75 doesn't fail loudly. It whispers. Heavy legs, delayed reactions, subtle loss of balance. These are warnings, not inevitabilities, and walking alone doesn't answer them. That fear pushed me to question everything I was doing. If walking wasn't restoring circulation, balance, and control, then what was missing? For a long time, I defended walking like a habit I couldn't question. It felt safe, familiar. Everyone my age did it, and that belief almost cost me my independence. I realized the problem wasn't walking itself. It was what walking doesn't train anymore after 75. Walking moves you forward in a straight line, slowly, predictably. But real life doesn't ask your body to move that way. Real life asks you to stop suddenly, to turn, to balance on one leg while reaching, to stand still without wobbling, to react. Walking never challenged those systems for me anymore. What I didn't understand before is that after 75, the body loses stability fibers, balance reflexes, and deep circulation first, not the ability to move forward. So you can still walk every day and quietly lose the very systems that keep you safe when movement changes. I wasn't training balance, I wasn't training control, I wasn't training circulation under tension. Walking had become a comfort zone that allowed decline to happen politely, without pain, without warning. The biggest mistake was believing that more walking would fix it. Longer walks didn't improve how my legs felt when standing up. Faster walks didn't make me feel safer when stopping. Nothing changed because the missing pieces were never being activated. I learned that stability muscles don't wake up just because you move. They wake up when you challenge them, when you shift weight, when you slow down movement instead of speeding it up, when your body has to control itself, not just travel forward. That's when it hit me. Walking was keeping me active but not functional, and after 75, functionality is everything. It's what keeps you living alone. It's what prevents falls. It's what keeps fear from creeping into simple daily tasks. Once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. I had to stop asking, am I moving, and start asking, am I training what protects me? That question led me to something I never expected. A movement so simple it didn't look like exercise, but it activated everything walking never touched. I didn't find this exercise in a gym, I didn't see it in a fitness program, and no one ever mentioned it to me during years of being told to just keep walking. I discovered it almost by accident on a morning when my legs felt unusually stiff and unresponsive. What surprised me first was how little it looked like exercise. No speed, no strain, no equipment. Just a slow, deliberate movement that forced my body to do something walking never required. Stay stable while shifting weight under control. The first time I tried it, I felt something wake up in my legs within seconds. Not fatigue, awareness, blood moving. My feet pressed into the floor differently. My calves and hips started working together, instead of taking turns like they do when you walk. This movement didn't push me forward. It asked me to control myself, to slow down, to feel where my weight was, to balance while moving, not after. That was the missing piece. What shocked me most was how quickly circulation responded. My legs felt warmer almost immediately, especially around the ankles and lower calves, areas that walking never seemed to reach anymore. That heavy, dense feeling began to soften. Balance changed too. I wasn't thinking about not falling. I was training the exact reflexes that stop a fall before it happens. The small stabilizing muscles in my feet, knees, and hips were suddenly involved again. I realized why walking failed me after 75. It had become automatic. My nervous system had nothing new to learn. This movement forced my brain and body to communicate again. Every repetition demanded attention, control, and presence. There was no impact, no risk. Yet it challenged the systems that protect. Independence, circulation under load, balance during motion, and confidence while standing still. After just a few days, I noticed something unexpected. Standing up felt smoother. Turning didn't require planning. I wasn't reaching for furniture as often, not because I was stronger, but because my body felt more awake. This wasn't about replacing walking completely. It was about finally giving my body what it had been missing for years. And what happened over the next few weeks changed how I felt about my legs and my safety entirely. The first thing I noticed wasn't strength, it was clarity. Within the first week, my legs felt more responsive, like the signal from my brain was finally reaching them without delay. Standing up from a chair stopped feeling like a negotiation. I stood and my body followed immediately. By the second week, that heavy sensation in my legs began to fade. Not completely, but enough that I became aware of how long it had been there before. Circulation felt more active, especially in the mornings. Instead of stiffness and hesitation, there was warmth and readiness. Walking after that felt different too, lighter, more controlled, less mechanical. What surprised me most was how my balance improved without me consciously working on balance. I wasn't practicing standing on one leg or testing myself dangerously. This movement trained balance indirectly, the way real life demands it. Shifting weight, slowing down transitions, staying centered, while moving. I caught myself turning around in the kitchen without thinking. No pause, no grab for the counter. That was a big moment. Those small actions are where independence hides. Not in how far you walk, but in how safely you move between moments. Another unexpected change was confidence. Fear didn't vanish overnight, but it stopped leading. I trusted my legs again. That trust made me move more naturally, which reinforced stability even further. It became a positive loop. Control. Creating confidence. Confidence improving control. I also noticed fewer end-of-day aches. My legs didn't feel drained by afternoon anymore. That constant low-level fatigue eased because circulation wasn't just happening during walks, but throughout the day, as my body learned to activate itself better. This movement didn't exhaust me, it energized me. That's an important difference after 75. Anything that leaves you drained discourages consistency. This felt sustainable, almost restorative. What became clear was this. I wasn't rebuilding youth. I was restoring function. And function is what keeps you living on your own, getting up without fear, and trusting your body again. But there was another layer I hadn't expected, how this movement changed my relationship with falling itself. That realization reshaped everything. What I understood next changed how I thought about falling forever. Falls don't happen because people stop walking. They happen because the body loses the ability to correct itself when something unexpected occurs. After 75, reaction time slows. Small stabilizer muscles weaken. The nervous system hesitates. Walking forward doesn't train any of that. It never asks your body to recover balance. It only repeats a familiar pattern. This movement did the opposite. Every repetition trained correction. When my weight shifted, my body learned to respond immediately. Ankles adjusted, hips stabilized, my core engaged without effort. These are the exact reflexes that stop a stumble from becoming a fall. What amazed me was how this changed my confidence without me forcing it. I wasn't telling myself, "Don't be afraid." My body simply felt prepared. Confidence returned as a physical sensation, not a thought. I noticed it outdoors first. Uneven pavement didn't scare me as much. I could step, pause, and recenter myself naturally. Indoors, I moved faster and more freely because I wasn't guarding every motion. This movement trained posture too. Standing tall felt easier. My center of gravity felt more stable, not pulled forward like it had been. That alone reduced the sense of instability that walking never addressed. Most importantly, it removed the fear of standing still. Falls often happen during transitions, stopping, turning, reaching. This movement lived in those transitions. It taught my body to stay strong and aware when movement slowed, not just when it flowed. I realized that fall prevention after 75 isn't about being careful. It's about being capable. Capability comes from training control, balance, and circulation together, not separately and not aggressively. Once that clicked, I knew this couldn't be something I did occasionally. It had to become part of my daily rhythm. And the way I integrated it into my routine made all the difference. Once I felt what this movement was doing for my body, I knew consistency would decide everything. Not intensity, not duration. Consistency. After 75, the body doesn't respond well to extremes, but it responds beautifully to regular, intelligent signals. I didn't add it as exercise, I added it as part of my day, usually in the morning when my body was stiff and circulation needed a wake-up call. Sometimes again in the afternoon when legs used to feel heavy. Just a few controlled repetitions were enough to reset how my body felt. What made it sustainable was how safe it felt. No rushing, no strain, no pushing through discomfort. I stayed close to a wall or chair at first, not because I needed it, but because safety builds confidence faster than bravado. Over time, I needed the support less and less. I learned to listen to subtle signals. If my balance felt off one day, I slowed it down. If circulation felt sluggish, I focused more on control and weight shift. This wasn't about following rules, it was about working with my body instead of fighting it. The biggest change came when I realized this movement didn't just prepare me for walking, it prepared me for life between walks, standing at the sink, turning to answer the phone, stepping sideways, reaching overhead. Those are the moments where independence is decided. This habit quietly rebuilt trust. I trusted my legs to respond. I trusted my balance to correct itself. And that trust changed how I lived. I moved more freely because fear wasn't managing my choices anymore. Walking still has a place in my life, but it's no longer my foundation. This movement is. It supports circulation, balance, posture and control in a way that walking never did after 75. What I want you to understand is this. Independence isn't maintained by doing more. It's maintained by doing what your body actually needs now. Simple, safe, functional. And once you feel that shift, you stop asking how long you'll stay independent. You start living like it's already protected. If you stayed with me until here, it tells me something important. You care about your independence. You're not looking for miracles or aggressive workouts. You want to feel safe, stable, and in control of your body after 75. And that matters. Now I want you to do one simple thing. Leave a comment below and write, "I choose control." That message isn't for the algorithm. It's a reminder to yourself that you're choosing function, balance, and confidence over fear and decline. If this video helped you see walking differently, give it a like. That small action helps this message reach other people over 75 who are quietly feeling the same doubts but don't know where to start. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. The next video appearing on your screen goes deeper into simple, safe movements and daily habits that protect circulation, balance, and mobility, even when walking is no longer enough. And don't stop here. Click the next video now. Your future self will thank you for it.